Hey y'all, hi. So today I just put on the makeup that I've been using the most, basically. I recently decluttered my collection from tip to toes extremely thoroughly, and I have been reveling in my newly edited collection. I feel like everything I decided to keep is shining so much more brightly and feels so much more accessible to me than it was feeling over the last couple of months of the year when it was just a mess, as you know, if you've seen my recap of my declutters. So rather than shopping my stash, which I think of as like an adventure, like going through my makeup and finding things that I haven't used in a while and, getting excited about them and using them. Rather than doing that, I thought today I would just bring down the makeup that I've been defaulting to that has gotten the most use since I decluttered my makeup. So that's what I did. I put the makeup on. I talked you through it in a very detailed way. I really enjoyed myself, and I hope that you will too. If this is your first time to my channel, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. My name is Hannah, and I do review some makeup. In fact, I snuck a review into this video. The lip product is actually what I've been testing for review for a while, and I haven't had a chance to mention. All the other stuff is just my same old makeup. So this is a beauty channel, and I do some makeup reviews as part of that, but I also like to keep focus on the act of using the makeup that you already own. If you like it, I hope you'll subscribe. And now let's go ahead and get into the meat of this video. Okay, y'all, this is the situation with which we are dealing. I'll tell you what's going on my face. I've put on skincare this morning, which was hours ago. I finished with kind of a hefty barrier cream, so I do feel skincare on my face, but I want to sort of re-moisturize, sort of re-wet the surface and make it feel, I don't know, like porous, like really moisturized, like actively moisturized for the application of makeup, because as you can see, my skin isn't in the best shape right now. So a lot of the work that I'm doing, and I'm just trying to pull myself together and feel a little bit more polished, is to even out my skin tone and clean up my skin. I have been using for this purpose the Merit Great Skin Instant Glow Serum quite a lot lately. I liked this product when it first launched, and I used it kind of like the amount that I needed to use it in order to give it a thorough review. And then it sort of got superseded by other things, I think because it's really great for skin prep, but because it's more on the watery side, I really think of it as skincare. So I started going sort of straight from my final layer of my skincare in the mornings, like again, like a barrier cream, to a sturdy product that is more designed definitely to be a primer. And this was sort of just getting left out. But recently I've been looking for solutions to my very dry skin, specifically looking for ways to prep my skin that will mean that my makeup will look good on it and not look crusty. And I've pulled this back out and started using it, and it's really amazing for that purpose. So I am kind of using it as a final step in my skincare routine, or after the last step in my morning skincare routine. But I'm also going to put another sort of skincare primer hybrid product on top of it. And I'm making sure to pick one that is oily enough to work with it instead of being like a really thick, almost silicone-y thing that might light on top of it and sort of battle with it. I'm going to top it with the Natasha Denona Skin Glass, and I've been using this combo a lot. It's been great. So this is like similar vibes, but just a little bit thicker. Rather than being like a hybrid watery serum, it is like a thin syrup, sort of. And yeah, they really do play well with each other, those two. So I've ended up with quite a lot of moisture on my skin. My skin is moisturized, it is moist. So I'm going to leave it for a little bit. I'm going to let that stuff all kind of soak in and settle, and I'm going to work on my brows. I have been using this Patrick Ta brow gel pretty much exclusively for the past several months as my brow sculpting and setting product. Patrick Ta Major Brow. And it's used up. It's gone. I can't get it to work anymore. I'm sort of just doing this in the faint hope that I'll get a little scrap of it, like just a little bit of unset, non-gummy product from the very bottom of the tube. But I don't have much hope because I've been trying for the last couple of days and it's really not working anymore. Maybe like a tiny little thin bit of a layer is going to help keep my brows into place, but mostly I'm just using the brush to brush them into place. I loved this product though, and I'm going to buy it again. I'm going to replace it with itself because I don't have anything else right now that does this. So because I know that I'm getting only the most perfunctory of holds from the little amount of this that I'm able to still transfer onto my brows. I'm going for kind of a natural shape so they won't have too hard of a time keeping that shape on their own. I'm going to fill in with the Glossier Brow Flick, which is what I've been doing lately. Just a little bit, though. I dyed my brows relatively recently, so I just need to fill in like little bits that are patchy. I'm not filling in the entire brow uniformly all over. All right, that'll do for today. It's not my finest work, but it's sufficient. Complexion time. So those two priming products together have left kind of what I would go so far as to call an oily layer on the skin. I am here for that right now, again, because I have these healing blemishes. There's some like dry, flaky skin on and around them just by default. So having them drenched with what kind of feels like, after much of both of those products have soaked in, what kind of feels like a very thin, delicate layer of a dry oil, that's a good position for me to be in going in with makeup product, because I feel like that oily surface that's left on the skin is going to mix with the makeup products and help them lie in a little bit more of a natural, almost like a translucent way on my skin rather than gumming up and grabbing on those patches of dryness. So starting with the Exa green color corrector, as I do, I'm going to go in thin layers, rubbing everything in, really integrating it into the priming products that are already there and into my skin, and mostly using my hands. A little bit more on this side just to really neutralize the redness. And I'm really treating this color corrector like skincare as well. You know, it's like rubbing it into the skin, trying to make it melt into the top layer of the skin and change the kind of nature of the top layer of the skin. I think of it as a prep product, and my feeling is the more completely I prep with the color corrector, the more I even out my skin before I start applying real makeup, the less of that real makeup I'll have to apply. So for real makeup today, I'm back on the wagon with the Rose Ink concealer, which was my favorite for so long, and then I used it up and I was without it for a while, so I don't think you all have seen me use it on camera in a while. The lightest shade is a great match for me because it's pale, but it's desaturated and has kind of a gray tinge. The shade is called LX010, a bit of a rare balance of tones and exactly what I need. So this is a very pigmented product, and in order to make absolutely sure that it doesn't get cakey and that my skin continues to have this lovely kind of like bouncy moisturized feel that it has because of all of the prep, I'm going to concentrate the center of it. It'll blend far because it's so pigmented right where I want it. Just a little bit goes such a long way. And I am also going to add a touch of the Haus Labs Triclone foundation in this white color. This is like a colorless BB cream to me, and it makes any makeup product a little bit more like a BB cream. And highly pigmented makeup products like the Rose Ink concealer can definitely take being a little bit watered down by something like this and still give me the coverage that I want. So I'm kind of trying to put an equal amount of the Haus Labs. Again, I'm going to rub that in with my hands. So rubbing it in with my hands has given me really even coverage. Like every square inch of my face is covered with the same amount of product, the same level of buildup of product as every other square inch. And it has also really helped me press the product into my skin, make it one with the skin and the layers underneath, and given me a really natural application of those makeup products. However, I need a bit more coverage in some places than in others. So I need a little bit more under the eyes for that redness, and I need a little bit more on the chin, again, for like a darkening with redness, and then some on these spots. So rather than going in with another layer of base product and building it up equally all over my face, I'm going to go in with a brush and strategically add more product. So I'm putting a little bit of the concealer on the back of my hand, a little bit of the Triclone foundation as well, and I'm mixing them together. And then I'm going to use this brush, which is new from Persona and that I've found really useful lately. I'm going to use the bigger, fluffier end to apply another layer of foundation over bigger planes of my face, like underneath my eyes and on my chin. I'll use this smaller end to add another layer on smaller areas, like on those spots. And for this, I'm just going to press product in and not swipe. I've been doing this lately because I saw the makeup artist Nikki Jarost demonstrate this method on an Instagram reel, method of applying with your hands first in sort of a swiping motion, you know what I mean? Like rubbing it in with your hands and then going in to add a little more coverage with a brush, but just pressing rather than swiping with a brush. And I've really been liking the outcome. For a last round of even more detailed spot concealing, I'm going to go in with the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer in Chantilly and this little brush, which is also from Persona. It is supposed to be for eyeshadow, but I've been using it to spot conceal. Okay, I think that's going to do it for cream base. I might add a little bit of powder in a second. That's going to do it for coverage products. You know, I don't look flawless, but I don't really like looking flawless, or I don't really like pushing my makeup to the point where from some angles and in some lighting, one might be fooled into thinking that my skin is flawless, because I find that if I go that distance, then in most lighting and from most angles, I just look like I'm wearing too many layers of makeup and my skin looks kind of cakey and heavy. So flawlessness is never really the goal, but just this sort of middle ground where I feel a little bit more polished and everything's a little bit more even. And I've definitely gotten there. Before I powder, I'm going to go in with this Chantecaille blush, which I've been using a lot lately. It surprises me because the color is a little bit bright. This is relatively new to me. It was PR towards the end of last year, but I kept it in my declutter and it has definitely joined my permanent collection. The shade is called Happy. I like it because it's this bright pink color that always looks more natural on me than I think that it will. But because it is so sheer and because it sets into the cheeks so well, I never feel overwhelmed by it. I always feel like it's not just the color, but also like the way it causes my skin to end up looking texturally, like the surface of my skin, that suits me. And I'm actually also going to put this on my lids. This is something I used to do with the Glossier Cloud paints all the time, and that's what this reminds me of. It really acts like the cloud paints, the way that it becomes one with the skin, kind of polishes the skin, but in a really natural, not too glossy way. I'm just trying to kind of connect the cheeks and eyes to each other. When I'm using a powder blush, I'll often do this after I do my eyeshadow. I'll be putting the powder blush on and I'll brush some of it onto my lid on top of my eye look to make everything more cohesive. But when I know that I want to have that cohesiveness, but I'm using a cream blush, then it makes more sense to do it this way, to put the blush down first before the eye look. All right, I think that's enough for me. I don't want too overly bright of a cheek look today. I think that's going to do it. And I don't want too overly intensive an eye look either, but I do want it to have kind of a golden warmth. I'm wearing this sort of ochre colored top and it's inspiring me. So I feel like it sort of is of a piece, the brightness of the pink with a light but rich golden color. And I'm going to use the Pat McGrath Moonlit Seduction palette. So I only have 5 eyeshadow palettes left since my declutter. And it's been amazing to just have 5 because I've been using all 5 of them all the time. And I'm much more frequently than I was doing, just taking one palette and using it for its own sake in its own way, rather than like always mixing and matching and trying to kind of optimize. I mean, I still do that. I still have been doing that, but it's been a long time since I just took one Pat McGrath palette and used what it had to offer. And I've been doing that more since the declutter. So that's what I'm going to demonstrate today. Because I'm going for this sort of like warm bronzy gold, I'm going to go into kind of mid-toned bronze and lay it down on the lids. That blush is already there. So it's like the first layer of eyeshadow. We don't really need to do the most with this. I'm just kind of like polishing the center of each lid with it. I really like the way that that layers with the pink. This is what I was trying to express before. I don't tend to like these slightly orange leaning, almost like a weak copper version of a bronze. I don't tend to love shadow. Like when I first got this, I was a little bit disappointed at how much orange there was in this bronze. But I think that pinks can really bring those kinds of colors alive when you layer them over them or put them next to them. It gives it a sort of sunsetty quality, almost an iridescent quality that does work for me. And I feel like that's what I've done with this color here by layering it over that pink blush on my lids. So I'm not going to make the look smoky today. Again, I'm trying to keep things a bit bright and light and polished. I am going to smudge some of this same Pat McGrath shadow onto my lower lash line just to keep things cohesive all the way around the eye. And then because I can't help myself, I'm going to finish this look with the gold one of these 4 more special shades in this palette. None of them are the baked formula of Pat McGrath, but they are really shiny, really wet look and have that sheer medium with shine particles set into it. I really love the way that this gold one looks pretty much all over the lid, although I'm going to try not to overdo it today. Obviously, I think it looked great before. I actually think I might have liked it better before I added the sparkle, which is kind of shocking. There was just something about the quite wet looking glossiness of that bronze just right on top of the cream blush on my lids. Maybe it's just that this is a little bit more how my eyes always end up looking, a little bit more what I'm used to. And there was something about the novelty of the way that it looked before. But I'm glad that I went the distance so that you could see what that looked like and what this looked like. And, you know, this is more like what I'm prone to do. So I have been shocking myself lately by enjoying a wispier lash. And I've been getting it by wiping most of the mascara off of the brush of the Make Beauty Lash Prototype Mascara, which is very black and wet, but can be caused to be quite cosmetically elegant by, you know, just removing most of it from the brush and then just using what's left. All right, there we go. I forgot to powder before I did my mascara. I'm just going to use, you know, my Old Faithful Kosas powder, just a little bit. This is mostly just to keep like the spot conceal in place. Well, and I guess also to kill too much shine in the T-zone. The places where I've layered like a couple of layers and then delicately layered a little bit more spot conceal on top, powder really helps to keep that in line. So for the lips, this is the only place in which I'm departing from the brief a little bit, the brief being using my same old makeup. This is a product that I expect will actually become my same old makeup. It's something that I really like, but I got it for review. When was it? It was at the same time when I was buying the Jones Road Balms from Credo for review. I was using my budget, my channel's budget for products for review back at the beginning of December. And I had a little bit left in the budget when I was placing the Jones Road order, so I put another thing in my cart from Credo. It's the Squeaky Clean Liquid Lip Balm from Westman Atelier. So I just added it to the group of things that I was getting for review. But then I ended up doing a totally dedicated video review just of the Jones Road Miracle Balm. I haven't had a chance yet to mention this on camera. It is, of course, very luxurious, as Westman Atelier products are. It's in the shade Nana, which is listed as a cool toned beige. So it's a really lovely, nourishing liquid lip balm with a little bit of coverage. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it from there. One of the things I really like about this is the color. I like that slightly cool toned beige. Let me see if I can put it like on half my lip and we'll see how much of an effect we can get. So I put it on this half of my bottom lip. It's pretty subtle. The effect is pretty subtle. There it is all over the lips. And you know, you can still see my natural lip color through it. So it's not like super opaque, super pigmented, which I like because it means that it's not difficult to apply. Like I'm not worried that it's going to get outside my lip line and look weird or that's going to make like a weird line. If I overline with it a little bit, I like the translucency. The thing I like about the cool toned color is that it doesn't add warmth to my face. It doesn't make my lips look like a warm orange toned brown because, as we all know, because of my complexion, any little hint of warmth tends to go very orange on me very quickly. And there are a lot of nude lip balms and lip products that make me look like I'm wearing something quite orange. I feel like the effect of it being a cool toned nude or cool toned pale nude is that it just cancels out that possibility and it feels genuinely neutral to me. And I appreciate that quite a lot. And you know, it's really nourishing, easy to wear, feels like an extremely high-end version of the Make Beauty Serum Balm, which I love so much. I've really fallen for. And I think that that's part of why I became finally so curious about this as to decide to actually use some of my review budget on it. I think the Make Beauty Serum Balm Intense, I was so excited about that. And then the pigment, maybe it's because I got such a dark color, but I find it still a little bit intimidating. It does sheer out to be incredibly wearable. It sheers out to be, I think, like roughly as sheer as this. But I just find it a little bit more difficult to get a totally even application. I was sort of hoping that this would kind of provide the nourishment that the Make Beauty Liquid Balm feels like it provides. I mean, the Serum Balm, but they're both liquid balms, right? That's what they have in common, but that it would have a little bit more of a sense of makeup about it. And that is exactly what it does have. The only thing that there is against it, the only reason not to recommend it, is that it's so wildly expensive. But if you've been wondering about its qualities as makeup, they're all top-notch. So that is it. This is exactly the kind of makeup I've been wearing lately, exactly how I've been using my personal makeup collection lately. This is what I've been feeling really comfortable in. This is the stuff that I've really been enjoying using, especially the base products. Like, that hasn't really changed in weeks for me. The skin prep, the color corrector, the concealer that I've been using, the powder, all of that stuff. This is really my daily makeup. And then I've been playing a little bit with, different blushes and different eyeshadow palettes, but this is a combination that I've definitely worn more than once recently too. I feel much better now. I was feeling a little bit busted at the beginning. I don't know if you could tell, probably, because I know I was looking kind of busted, but I found it very soothing to just kind of talk through makeup that I've been applying, how I've been doing it in like a measured and detailed way. And I hope that it was the same for you. I appreciate you so much for being here and spending this time with me. If you aren't subscribed, I hope that you'll decide to subscribe. I really hope that you are taking extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.